I am joined now by the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Khan. You have so many different jobs and job titles that I'm probably not going to get all this right. But CEO of AEW, Director of Football Strategy for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Director of Football Operations for Fulham Premier League soccer team. Somehow you're doing all three of those things at the same time. Let's start there. How are you doing all of this? You're my age. I'm exhausted. I have 3 kids. Like, I just can't fathom one person doing all of this.
Well, really, I love working a lot of hours, so I pretty much work most of the time I'm awake, and I'm awake a lot, and I drink a lot of coffee, and I love football and wrestling. I love the NFL and the Premier League, and it's really special being able to work with the people I work with and having the great fans from football and wrestling all over the world. And I used to be a wrestling fan and a person who worked in football. This is my 14th season doing football data. I work in analytics. I'm also the chairman and owner of True Media Networks. We're the top sports analytics engineering company in the world, and have really grown that business along with great team, Rafe Anderson and Jeff Stern, and the great team that they built there. And I love pro wrestling. I was a wrestling fan working in Jacksonville for the Jaguars. And I found myself very drawn as a fan of wrestling to want to get into the business. But I used to be in the football office sometimes 80, 90 plus hours a week, just working on NFL. And then got more and more involved and was able to hire up more staff and build the analytics group up. We staffed up and grew into more and more people where we have a top group. I'm not there working anywhere like that anymore, that amount of hours, because we have a great group of people there that are doing that, and I can still come in and focus on things I love, undrafted free agency, and coming in for some of the key things, and well, with Liam coming in, it's an exciting time for the Jaguars.
All right, let's talk about that, because your dad is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You went through a rocky coaching search. I think you ended up in a very good spot, but there was a time period where you were going to keep your general manager, Trent Baalke. You ended up firing Trent in order to bring in Liam. What did you learn through that process?
I think that, my dad made some difficult decisions in that process, and I think my dad made a great choice with Liam Coen. I think he's going to be a great coach for the Jaguars, and in the process, he identified Liam as the top coach of all the candidates, and that's the person he wanted to bring in, and I think he was determined to give Jacksonville the best coach. It's a young coach, and he's putting together a great staff, a young staff, with great coaches from all experiences all over, and I think Liam's a brilliant football mind, so it's really turned out very well for the Jaguars, and we're still building a lot of things, but we have great assets and a great core of players that we can build this around, and that's one of the reasons Liam's really excited to be here. He said it himself. And I think my dad made some great choices there, and he's done a lot of great things in Jacksonville and around the community. And I think
so. Was this as simple as your dad targeted Liam as the coach, and Liam said, "I want my own general manager if I'm going to take this job"?
I think my dad realized that it was the right move to give Liam the opportunity to work with him and get a fresh start in Jacksonville. And my dad and Liam came to that realization, and that's a process that they, at the end, are going to build a great winner in Jacksonville. I do think it's a really exciting time for the Jaguars right now, and the fans are very energized about Liam, and the players are very energized. From talking to players on both sides of the ball, of course, Trevor Lawrence and great players on the offense, and we have some great young players on defense and great leaders like Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, and players that I think any coach would be excited to work with. And I know Liam Coen and our staff are really excited to work with.
The coaching staff is really young. Is that purposeful?
I think that's what Liam is trying to build, a staff of a lot of experience. There are some really experienced coaches on the staff too, but there are young coaches. Liam's a young coach. He's got a lot of energy. He's self-described from the Sean McVay tree of coaching. Sean McVay came in as a very young coach himself in Los Angeles with a lot of experience for a young guy. And Liam has worked under Sean, with Sean twice. And Liam is a very experienced guy all over football with a great football mind from a great football family. His dad is tremendous. And, Liam's learned a lot about the sport from a young age. And I've really enjoyed connecting with him and getting to spend time and talking with him and learning from him already. And I think he's going to be a great leader for the Jags.
AEW has been a big success. Any wrestling fan, I think, would tell you that the rise of this league as a competitive league to WWE has been sort of remarkable. What's next for the league? Are you looking at certain things WWE has done and said we want to do that, or are there different paths you want to go that maybe are uncharted?
I appreciate you asking, Alex. It's a really exciting time. We're just about a month in to the AEW streaming deal, which is huge because with Warner Brothers Discovery, we simulcast the shows. We're on TBS every Wednesday night. We're on TNT every Saturday night in prime time. But now we simulcast the shows. And that's a huge opportunity now with the shows on Max. We're building a new audience. It has not cannibalized the existing audience at all. We're seeing growth. And that's what's amazing, growth in streaming and television. And I'm really excited about that because the audience expanded and our cable numbers are still very strong, where we're top show for TBS every Wednesday and TNT every Saturday, and still delivering where they keep the Max streaming numbers close to the vest, but Warner Brothers themselves disclosed to the media that we're one of the top sports streaming shows also, in addition to being a top TV performer. I really appreciate your kind words. I think the League of AEW as a pro wrestling company is really expanding as a challenger brand, but also as like an international powerhouse. You know, we've seen in England on ITV, we've been on there since day one on ITV and ITV4 for over 5 years now. Last week was the biggest ratings we ever had for both shows. And that's a huge market for us. For anyone who doesn't know, we set the world record for pro wrestling ticket sales, 81,035 tickets sold in London for AEW All In. And that's an amazing place. The UK and London specifically, Wembley Stadium specifically, is a great venue for it. We've got a great partnership with ITV that's been there from day one. And the ratings for AEW Dynamite and AEW Collision, both our shows last week, were the highest audience of all time.
How is the business doing? Because WWE is a publicly traded company, so we get a window. We don't get a window into you, so I just have to ask you.
This is our biggest year ever. Our revenue is so much bigger now with our new contract. It's a great.
Can you give us ballpark numbers? How much bigger?
Well, it's much bigger, multiple times bigger than ever before on revenue because of our new deal, which is, I think it's well known. It's much a bigger deal now with AEW Dynamite and Collision simulcast and streaming every Wednesday and Saturday on TBS and TNT. Now with Max added in, we're creating also as one of the top sports streaming shows, and it's a path to the future. And as the cable industry's changed, AEW's been a proven, consistent winner year in, year out. We do great on TBS and TNT, and now we're a top show for Max, and it's great to be associated with a company that, frankly, for us, has given us all these great opportunities, and I think we've delivered. Like, you know, Christmas week, we were on after they made a really astute move and got the college football playoff games. And the college football playoff games did fantastic on TNT, and they put AEW Collision on Saturday night. We were live in the Hammerstein Ballroom waiting for the game to end. It was great. And we went on in New York live Christmas week with one of our best shows, and that was, in America, the most watched AEW Collision on TNT since the first month of the show, since the very beginning.
Would you consider taking AEW public one day?
I don't want to. I think we have a great family business. I want to build I'm a young guy. I'm still a relatively young executive, and someday I'd like to have a family, and hopefully they can work in the business. But you know, it's a family business.
One more question about the Jaguars. Your dad is one of two non-white owners. There's been a lot of talk about DEI and the with the Trump administration, and the Roger Goodell coming out this week and saying that, you know, he defended the NFL's diversity improvement hiring policies. I'm curious what your take is on all of this. Do you feel like the league's has been doing, the NFL that is, has been doing sort of the right thing with the Rooney Rule and other hiring practices?
I think the NFL is the industry leader in all media and all practices. The NFL is the biggest media powerhouse in the world, the greatest sports property. Every time you look at TV year in, year out, the NFL, 90% of the most watched TV shows or more every year are NFL football games. It's the greatest company in the world, and Roger is a great leader, and I think he's done a fantastic job on everything. My father came here from Pakistan when he was 16 years old with the equivalent of a couple $100, and you know, worked from scratch, and he's really built so much
Now
with
he
his
has a
own hands.
giant yacht in Mississippi River, right, overlooking us here.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I'm sleeping.
That's where you're
I
sleeping.
just came in from AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite in Atlanta. It was one of the best shows we ever did. The fans were fantastic in Atlanta, and it was a fantastic TV show and streaming show on Max. And, you know, I got here in the middle of the night. I got a couple hours sleep, and now I'm here with you. But it's really a nice, it's a nice place to be able to go. And he's a wonderful person and a great leader, an entrepreneur, but he's also an American success story. And you talk about people coming here, different cultures. I think he's somebody everybody could look at and say, this guy's an American dream. He came here to go to college. That's where my dad and mom met, at the University of Illinois. And that's where I grew up, in Illinois. And my whole life I've been here. So that's what America's all about. It's a great place. And the NFL is the best league in the world.
Keep drinking coffee, Tony. You're going to need it.
I need it, man. It's great doing these spots with you, but it's also great to see you. I mean, I get to talk about the business of sport, the business of football, wrestling. You're the leading expert in all sports media rights, so it's really fun catching up with you, Alex.